Welcome back to another episode of Brothers Blockbusters, a sibling-hosted Average Joe podcast where each week we discuss the biggest movie and TV news and we review the latest releases so you don't have to. I am your co-host, Eric.
And I'm your co-host, Elliot.
Today we're going to cover some casting announcements around the Batman Part 2. We have some James Bond audition updates, and we are reviewing the newly released Guy Ritchie film, In the Gray. Elliot, you ready to get this one going?
Yeah, let's get after it. So this week in Hollywood, we have a few stories to discuss. Nothing major this week. One of our first stories I want to talk about is Amazon has officially started auditions for the next James Bond.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been anything released yet in terms of who's been auditioning or who they're looking for, specifically like age range. But all we know is that auditions have officially started taking place.
Yeah, this is obviously since Daniel Craig kicked off the reboot of the franchise in a sense. They're obviously, he did his 5 films and they want to kind of reboot the franchise. Who's directing this again? Isn't it a pretty big director? Denis Villeneuve?
Yeah,
Denis
done all the Dune, right?
Yeah, he's on all the Dune. So he also did, he did Blade Runner, right? 2049?
Blade Runner 2049,
yeah. So I think, with him casting wise, you're looking at someone who I think I saw some reports that they want to have someone who's young enough to do, multiple films, 4 to 5 films. But Daniel Craig, when he got casted, he was in his early 40s, right? So, you kind of look, you've seen I don't even want to say they're betting websites, but there's just been some kind of reports about who they're potentially looking at. One of those being Callum Turner. Henry Cavill is another name that I've heard bandied about, which I think might be my personal favorite to lead to be the new James Bond in this new, 4 or 5 movies with Denis Villeneuve. Jacob Elordi's also been thrown out there, obviously a younger actor.
Right.
All 3 of these guys kind of have a different look to them, but all 3 of them obviously I think could pull off James Bond. I think Henry Cavill might be, like I said, I think that might be the best option because, he obviously is roughly the same age Daniel Craig did. Daniel Craig did 5 movies that were pretty evenly spaced out. I mean, Casino Royale came out in 2006 and his last film ended in 2021? It was supposed to come out during 2020 before COVID hit it.
Right.
So
yeah, they pushed that back.
I think you're looking at some pretty strong options. I'm excited. I hope they kind of, I don't know how they're going to do it, how they're going to kick it off. I kind of hope they kind of did what they, do what they did with Daniel Craig, just kind of start fresh, go back to like the Casino Royale type, maybe not that same exact movie, but kind of like a refresh when James Bond's first coming up as, 007. So I like the casting options. You're going to see more names pop up probably, but those are the 3 that kind of stood out.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I thought we heard like a year or so ago, Aaron Taylor Johnson was rumored to have been casted, and then there's a bunch of media sites that came out and said no, that's not the case, but it seemed pretty legit. So
I mean, that could have potentially been
he's kind of like right in the middle, right? Like he's not like Jacob Elordi, like late 20s, but he's also not Henry Cavill, who's like just over 40, like 41, 42.
Yeah.
He's in his he's 35, so he's kind of fits that mold. Because I think Daniel Craig, and I'm gonna check to make sure, but I think Daniel Craig was right around 40.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Yeah, he was 39 when he first in Casino Royale when he first started Bond.
So, and I think if you put these movies out, you don't wait, 14 years in between 5 movies. If you can get 4 or 5 out in a span of like 8 years, 10 years, I mean, Henry Cavill's right in there. And I think when you see James Bond, right, who's the immediate actor right now that has not played James Bond, obviously? You kind of lean towards Henry Cavill or Aaron Taylor Johnson, right? I mean, they're both British, right? They're both British.
It's like what's the style you want to, right? Because I do, in some instances, I do think of Henry Cavill because I think of more of a muscular, like strong man, like I guess like a farmer, like an old school kind of guy, like Henry Cavill.
Sure.
And then I think of a guy like Callum Turner who is like super sleek, like has the look. Has that feel of Bond, but again, they would cater these movies differently to these different actors.
Correct.
That they chose
So it's basically however they want to go about it. Do you want to have a certain look? And honestly, I think if Henry Cavill doesn't get the role, I hope they maybe cast him as like a villain because we saw him in Mission Impossible Fallout. Was it Fallout that he was in? Yeah, he was in Fallout.
Yes,
and he was like a villain, but he also wasn't. But he played that role perfectly. So like, if they choose a different direction, I hope they think about putting him in one of these, one of these films is maybe like a bad guy or a villain or one of those guys like the muscle of a group, kind of like how Batista was in
Mhm.
Spectre, something like
Oh,
that, where
yeah, that's right, I forgot
it's
about
something
that.
like that because he could do both,
Yeah.
right? So who knows where they're leaning? I'm excited to kind of see where they move, how they move in the process. I
Mhm.
think it's going to be a big task because right when Daniel Craig got casted as James Bond, no one, I mean, people knew of Daniel Craig, but no one's like, oh, this is the best casting ever. I think people had
Right.
doubts, and you know, our dad's a big James Bond fan. I think we bought him one year all the movies on Blu-ray, so he has them
Mhm.
all. And he, growing up with all the Bond movies, obviously Sean Connery was everyone's favorite Bond. And when you think of who do you think of when you think of 007, a lot of people say Sean Connery, but
Right.
he's watched all the Daniel Craig ones so many times. I think he even told me, he goes, I think Daniel Craig might be the best Bond. And I've rewatched those. I
Mhm.
rewatched those when we went over to Europe last summer. Those movies are phenomenal. And Daniel Craig was fantastic. So I'm excited to see, especially with Denis Villeneuve directing. I mean, this can go in any number of directions, but I
Right.
think with him as a director, I really think you're going to see what I hope to be a fantastic first movie and then a few
Mhm.
after, just kind of continuing this classic. And I kind of hope they kind of do the classic. Who knows what time period it's going to, take place in?
It's
Are they going
true.
to do a reboot of way back in the, 40s or 50s with
Mhm.
the lesser technology, or are they going to do like a modern day Bond on his take? So I'm excited to see that. And obviously, as more information comes out and the casting kind of, I know, what's that website? Is it Kalshi that has like all these betting odds and odds
Yeah,
on
there's
things?
there's several, but Kalshi is, like, a big one.
Yeah.
It's basically betting, but it's yeah. I mean, it's like
So
prediction market, so it's like who's gonna be the next Bond, and you can, put money on who you think it's
Yeah,
gonna
so
be.
I think right now, I think I saw it the other day, Callum Turner's odds were up super high, and then they've dropped over the last couple weeks as this got announced, so
Mhm.
we'll see.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I love the Bond movies. They're some of my favorite films to watch. One of the best series I think you can throw on those 5 Daniel Craigs consistently
Mhm.
and just continuously watch them. So, moving on. So, we'll touch on this later, towards the end of the episode about a potential movie review for next week,
Mhm.
but I wanted to throw this out there. So, The Mandalorian and Grogu has debuted. Is it officially debuted as Rotten or is it above
It
Rotten now?
debuted I believe it debuted as well, I think it debuted, like, right at 60, and then it went down to Rotten, and now it's back up, but
Mhm.
yeah.
So it's up
Yeah.
to 61% on Rotten Tomatoes with over 170 reviews. Just to keep people clear, can you kind of explain the percentages on Rotten Tomatoes so people don't think it's like a 61 out of 100?
Right, so, essentially what it means is that out of all the so in this example, there's 170 reviews. Out of the 170 critics who reviewed the movie, 61% of them reviewed it as a positive movie.
Okay,
So it's not that they took the aggregate score of what they all put out of 100 and the 61% is what it came up with.
sure.
So it's so like I said, it's out of everyone's review, 61% of the reviewers made it considered it a positive movie. So
Okay.
it
So not
doesn't always
horrible.
equate to what percentage when you think of 61%.
Sure, and like we always say, you're gonna like some movies that a lot of people may not have liked. There might be a movie out there where
Right.
it's gotten not so great reviews. I think one of the movies you and I really like, Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell and Danny McBride. Like that movie's hilarious, and every time it's on, I put it on and I laugh like every
Mhm.
single time. But it wasn't really like critically great. Like it
Yeah, it
was not
was
a great film, but
no.
it's still one of my favorites. So, and
Mhm.
that's what Ellie and I are kind of on here for is we're telling you guys like if you like a movie, say you like it and love it and back it up. And if you don't like a movie, say the same thing. But it's all, it's whatever you like.
Mhm.
So we just kind of wanted to throw that out there as, Star Wars obviously like they don't release a lot of movies, right? So when a
Yep.
movie comes out, you hope it's going to be good. So we're going to push our judgment out until we see it, and then we'll give obviously you guys a full review on that movie because I know we have a lot of people who listen who love Star Wars, and Ellie and I both love Star Wars. I know he can I can speak for him, but yeah, that movie got about a 61% on Rotten Tomatoes as of right now. We'll see
Mhm.
how it goes as it gets released into more audiences and more people get to see it. So we're excited for that one. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on, we got the full cast for the Batman 2, the
Yeah,
main
finally.
cast. So Matt Reeves, about a week and a half ago,
Mhm.
started tweeting gifs of, I think he first tweeted Robert Pattinson, said, "Welcome back, friend." with the bat emoji, and then it was a gif of Robert Pattinson from the first Batman.
Yep.
And then over the span of a couple of days, he started tweeting, welcome this person with a gif of that said actor, actress from a movie. And, that's kind of the cast list he announced for now. There's obviously going to be more side characters, things like that might pop in. But do you want to touch on some of the actors, actresses that he named in his release?
Yeah, so this is a pretty stacked cast. Obviously, Robert Pattinson as the Batman. He returns. Andy Serkis returns as Alfred Pennyworth. Colin Farrell is returning as the Penguin.
Thank God.
Which I believe it's, going to be a continuation of, like, his story is going to be a continuation of the show.
Correct.
And leading into this. And then you have, Jeffrey Wright as well is back.
Yep, he'll be back as Commissioner Gordon. I thought he did a tremendous job in that role.
Yeah, he's such a good actor. They nailed it perfectly. Sebastian Stan has joined the cast.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
That one's interesting because the rumors are that he's going to be playing Harvey Dent.
Yeah, that's
Two-Face.
That's the rumor right now, and I've seen reports and just kind of, scuttlebutt around the movies that you're going to fully see. Because I know obviously in The Dark Knight, you kind of saw Harvey Dent and how quick his turn was to turning into Two-Face.
Right.
And I think you're going to see maybe a little bit more, because they talked about, Gary Oldman's character as Commissioner Gordon kind of talked about, what they called him down at the, whatever, down at the police station, whatever, down in the district courts, why they called him Two-Face. And I think what I've seen is you might actually get to see how he becomes Two-Face.
Yeah.
Right. How he actually is when he's in that Two-Face character. So that's exciting. Now that's just a rumor, obviously, right? We don't know his official character name, but that's where it looks like it's going with him.
Right. And I think Charles Dance, who has been confirmed as well, I think he is actually, I don't know if it's confirmed. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that he's playing Two-Face's father.
That's also another rumor. Yep.
So that would make sense if Sebastian Stan is playing, in fact, playing Harvey Dent. And then who else do we have? Scarlett Johansson's in it. I have not read anything or looked up anything on who she could be playing.
No, I've seen something about how she might be a Dent, but I'm not sure in what realm who she would actually play. I'm not as familiar with those comics. So
we're essentially getting some Marvel people to come over to DC with Sebastian and Scarlett.
And then you get Brian Tyree Henry,
who is also a Marvel guy. He was in the Eternals. And again, I haven't heard much about him either, on who he's playing, but again, another really good actor.
Yeah,
somebody who's going to put a lot into this movie.
It's a strong cast. I really like it. I'm glad, you get your main cast back. You get Robert Pattinson back. You get Andy Serkis, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright. Charles Dance is going to be, I think he's going to be a phenomenal add to this cast.
He was Game of Thrones, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played Tywin Lannister, so he played the dad of all of Tyrion and Cersei and Jaime. Fantastic actor.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see his character, and we have no idea who Scarlett Johansson's playing, Brian Tyree Henry. I know Officer Martinez is back. He's back in the film. So I don't believe Zoe Kravitz is in this one. I don't believe she's in it as Catwoman, but this cast it's exciting. I can't wait for, more stuff to come out as they start filming. And I did see something how it looks like, so in the first movie, it was more red and black, obviously with Batman. And it looks like this movie, with it taking place in the winter time, I've seen logos, around the set. It looks like it's going to be blue.
I've seen the blue.
So that's going to be really exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait to have more stuff, and obviously we'll talk about it more. As I think
we brought it up on every podcast so far, because there's always more news, and we're talking about how much we need it and how long it's been. So I'm sure next week when we record again, we'll have something else to update people with.
Yeah. So finally, to wrap up before we get into our main review of In the Gray, looks like the Odyssey has an official runtime, 2 hours and 52 minutes, which would be Nolan's second longest film behind Oppenheimer, which is roughly around 3 hours.
Yeah. So, it's not that much shorter than, I think Oppenheimer was exactly 3 hours long.
Okay.
This is 2 hours, 52 minutes. So again, like 10 minutes shorter, give or take. I figured it was going to be long, and it's Christopher Nolan. Like, a lot of his movies are super long. I believe Interstellar was upwards of 2.5 hours. Same with Inception, I think, was really long.
Wasn't Tenet? Tenet was super long too, I remember.
Yeah. Tenet was, so Interstellar is like 2 hours, 50 minutes. Tenet was 2.5 hours exactly. And then I think Inception as well was around 2:15, 2:30. So
then obviously all the Batman movies were super long too. I think that's a sweet spot. I think Nolan likes, he likes telling a story, and it's kind of hard, especially with something like this. You don't want to shortchange yourself. You don't want to try to fit in an hour and 50 minutes or 2 hours into something this epic, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to kind of let it breathe. And I like it. I know some people don't like going to see long movies. Like I know a lot of people had complaints about the Batman being over 3 hours, but if you really enjoy the content of what the movie is going to provide, give me more.
Yeah.
Like give me more. Give me a 2 hour and 52-minute movie. It's a nice break going to the cinema, watch a film, and then I think I don't
If
have
it's
any
entertaining
complaints.
enough, it's not going to feel like it's that long.
No, correct.
I've not had any of these Christopher Nolan movies feel super long, and they're
No.
obviously upwards of 2.5 to 3 hours. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be just fine. I don't think the length's going to really hinder anything.
No, I'm with you.
Yep.
But 2 hours 52 minutes sounds good to me. Sounds like a fun time at the movie theater in July.
Can't wait.
All right. You ready to get into the main review?
Yeah, let's do it. So, In the Gray is what we're talking about this week. Directed by Guy Ritchie, who's done plenty of these kinds of movies. The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which came out I think last year, 2 years ago. Wrath of Man, which is Jason Statham. The Gentleman, which is a bunch of these same people. And then The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was probably like 10 years ago at this point. But again, I think Henry Cavill is in that and a bunch of other guys. So very much he's like Christopher Nolan, where and like Quentin Tarantino, where they use a lot of the same actors and actresses just because they're familiar with them and they know their kind of range. So like most of his movies, Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. He plays a guy named Bronco Beauregard. Henry Cavill is Sid. Isa Gonzalez.
Isa Gonzalez.
As Rachel, Christopher Heviu as Axel, then Fisher Stevens, who many probably know from Succession. He's basically
Yes.
He's Mr. Horowitz. He's Salazar's lawyer, and then Rosamund Pike is played by Bobby Sheen.
Rosamund Pike is played by Bobby Sheen.
Bobby Sheen is played by Rosamund Pike.
Yes.
So just a quick synopsis before we get into it. In the Gray basically follows a covert team of elite operatives who live in the global shadows as comfortable, wielding power and influence as they are automatic weapons and high explosives. When a ruthless despot steals $1 billion fortune, the team is sent to steal it back on what would be for anyone else a suicide mission. What begins as an impossible heist gets much worse, spiraling into an all-out war of strategy, deception, and survival. This movie came out last week.
Yeah, last week.
It's like mid-May. I think it was like the 15th, the weekend of the 15th, 16th of May, on a budget of about $50 million. And so far, it's only made about $5 million.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So it's only a theater movie currently. There wasn't a ton, at least for my end, I did not see a ton of marketing in this movie. And I know Guy Ritchie, like he doesn't do massive blockbuster movies. These movies are typically lower-ish budget, and they typically make what they put into it, but not by a ton. So again, like it's probably not going to make its budget. It's probably going to lose money, but for me, I think it was, potentially worth it. So let's kind of get into our initial reactions. What did you think? One sentence reaction.
One sentence reaction, I would say Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare meets Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Okay.
I think those two movies you saw a little bit of both of those films. If anyone has seen those movies, you get the humorous, non-serious kind of comedic, action-y kind of side that you get from the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. But then I think you get the seriousness. Not as serious, obviously, because The Covenant's a pretty serious film, but you get that aspect of it in the back half of this film, where I think they kind of mesh together to kind of create, it's kind of like two of his movies in one. So that's my one sentence reaction.
So for my end, I think it was a big adrenaline rush from start to finish, but with not much time to breathe. So from start to finish, as soon as, the credits, roll into the movie, action is right there. Like there's already dialogue into the movie. There's already, a scene where, somebody ends up dying, and then it goes right into like what exactly is going on. And then it continues throughout the hour, hour and 35 minutes. So again, it was high action, which is what we like, right? Like I've seen Wrath of Man with Jason Statham. It's very much the action part of that. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Like again, like you mentioned, it's the comedic timing and some of that was definitely present in this movie as well. And then I think The Gentleman, with like kind of the ensemble cast they had in that, was very similar in this.
Yeah, I would agree.
So it's kind of like a lot of his movies kind of squished into one. But again, I feel like you can go to any of those movies and be like, oh yeah, this is this movie, all these movies squished into one. So it's very similar style. It's like a Wes Anderson kind of, he doesn't really veer off from what
No,
he's good at doing.
He doesn't stray away from what he knows and what he's good at.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think worked with this movie?
I think you're gonna probably touch on it too, but I thought the way Henry Cavill and Jake Gyllenhaal kind of meshed together is like it's not like it's kind of like one of those good cop bad cop films, right? Like the partners together, but I think their dynamic as actors working together within their characters, I thought it really did a good they did a tremendous job of conveying who they were, but also on the screen it just popped.
Yeah.
Right. Jake Gyllenhaal had the unserious kind of comedic side, and then Henry Cavill was like the serious, like stone-faced, stoic kind of other counterpart to him. So I thought that really, really worked well. And I think the last part of the film, the action stuff, right? I think Guy Ritchie does a really good job with action-based films, and when he gets really into it, I thought the last 45 minutes of this movie, 30 minutes of this movie, the last big rush at the end of the film, I thought was very, very well done. I thought it kept me like I remember I was in the theater, I saw this by myself, and it was like, whoa, I'm fully locked into this film right now. And sometimes it's hard with some movies, you're kind of not locked in. You're like, where is this going? But I really thought that really worked. The action aspect of how he shot this film was tremendous.
Yeah, and it's like it essentially takes place on just an island, right? Like there's some scenes where it's in like a high-rise building in Manhattan, like a corporate, office. But most of this just takes place on this like island in off of Spain, right?
Yeah.
So I do agree. Like, what I thought worked was the dynamic of Cavill, who plays Sid, and then Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Bronco. It was kind of like that. I wouldn't say call it bromance because there wasn't too much character development where you like understood their backgrounds. You kind of get it in the movie, and we'll talk about it as we get on with the review. But they kind of have been together for a long time. They know how each other works. And kind of know their pros and their cons with each other. So, and then just the actors themselves. I mean, two of the best like action actors. So I thought they worked really well together.
Yep.
And then kind of jumping into the action of the movie, like I mentioned, there is exposition because there's kind of like the Gonzalez she kind of like has the background talking about like everything that's going on, but it's more like as the action is going. It's not like there's a scene where she's talking about this whole thing, right? Like she's not just like sitting in the boardroom like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is my job. This is how I'm going to do it. It's as they're doing it. Because
correct.
Like when they're talking, briefly when they're talking about like the plan of when they're on the island, she's not like in a room talking to them like this is what we're going to do. While she was doing that, while she is saying that, they're showing like them actually doing.
Yeah, I like that. I actually really like that a lot. Yeah, it was awesome because then you kind of see instead of like you said, her sitting in a room kind of going through, and then they kind of show what they're doing. Literally, while she's talking, they're basically going through exactly what the plan is.
Right.
And I thought that really did a good job of kind of getting you into like, while it wasn't like straight action, but it was. And they kind of got you like, okay, here we go. Here's what they're doing. So it was kind of like, okay, all right, I get this.
And that was like happening within the first 15 minutes of the movie. Like I was like, shouldn't this be like an hour in as they're kind of like getting towards, the third act? But it's like, no, it just started almost instantly like that.
Well, that's what I wondered when like you said, like 15, 20 minutes in, when it's all happening, it's like, all right, well, I guess because they kind of lead off to the beginning part of the movie where she's talking and you're trying to figure out, oh, okay, here's what's going to happen. Here's the main plot of the movie. She has to get money back from a client, right? So here's how they're going to do this. And 20 minutes in, you're like, wait a minute, it's about to happen.
Right.
So like, what else?
Yeah.
How is this going to go? And then obviously, as we'll get into spoilers, you kind of know what ends up happening. But I liked it. I thought the action part of it was fantastic.
Okay, so that's what you liked. What didn't you like?
How long did we say this movie was? Like an hour and
it's hour and
37?
Like 37 minutes. Yeah, 97 minutes.
I think it was probably 30 to 40 minutes too short.
Yeah.
I think they could have made this movie 2 hours and 10 minutes and kind of let it breathe a little bit, kind of give a little bit more without, again, I like the fact that they jumped right into it, but I think there could have been some more character developments that you could have told a better story had you had a little bit more time. It was so like, boom, fast paced. Like it just, if you had just a little bit more time, 20, 30 minutes, I think you could have let the movie breathe a little bit and you could have really have gotten to story tell a little bit more, develop some of the characters maybe a smidge more to kind of get to an understanding of who they are and what they're doing without just, hey, we have an hour 37, we're jamming this all in. Like,
no, I agree. And the point of this podcast is not for you and I to agree on all this stuff, but I feel like we do have similar tastes considering we are brothers. But it was very fast paced, but it did feel clunky at times, right? Like you said, it could have probably been 30 minutes longer. But I do appreciate that it's an hour and a half movie and it gets like right into the action. So when you do that, you do sacrifice other plot devices like character development or like the reasoning behind, Gonzalez's character, like what's her motivation, like she didn't really talk about why she's in the business that she's in.
Correct.
And didn't like talk about how she got to the position she's in. Like at this point, she's like at the top of her game. Like I think what Henry Cavill, who plays Sid, and Gyllenhaal, who plays Bronco, they like kind of report to her. Like they call her mom, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're her kids basically, even though like she's 10 years younger than both of them. But
basically, there wasn't like their pseudo boss.
Right. And you see like during the movie, like some kind of flashback where she like gets him out of prison. They were both in prison together for who knows what. Mm-hmm. And she probably like takes them under their wing and under her wing and like, makes them who they are. So I felt like there could have been a little more background on her motivations as her character.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, you sacrifice that when you make it an hour and a half movie.
Correct. It's like the character between her and Rosamund Pike's character as Bobby Sheen. It just felt like that was just like, because she just walks into the office and she's like, hey, I need to do this. You know my track record. I'm doing this.
Right.
And it's like, this just went from 0 to 100 of like, okay, but what exactly does she do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is she like a headhunter? Is she like one of these types of people who's good at extracting stuff from criminals? Like why, like you said, how does she get into this position? How is she this good at what she does?
Do we ever learn anything about her background?
No, none.
I'm trying to think of like her upbringing, like how she grew up, anything like that. We don't know any of that.
No, you just basically know that she's really good at her job. She knows that what's the company that she is hired by? Bobby Sheen's company. Something Goldstein.
Yeah.
I should know this. I just saw it.
It's just an asset management firm.
Yeah. So it's like, how did she know these people? How does she get into their office? Like, what's that connection between her and Rosamund Pike? Like, that's where it's kind of.
They already have that familial relationship, right?
Yes.
They already know each other.
So it's, again, like you said, you're going to sacrifice some things when you make a movie super short comparatively. You're going to cut out some storytelling. You're going to cut out some character development. So I agree with you. That part was kind of, and then again, like I said, it was kind of weird. Like in the first part of the movie, I was kind of like, okay, well, they're already getting to the main crux of what I thought was going to be the main point of the movie. But then, come to realize, once you get into the film, you're like, oh, okay, I see where they're going.
Right.
With this.
Like the main core of the movie, like the third act is already starting at an hour mark.
Correct.
Like we're only an hour in and they're already starting this and there's only 30 minutes left.
Yeah, I think you said 30 more minutes on this movie, I think would have done this movie wonders.
And I don't think like it went by slow by any means. I mean, it went pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like they were at one thing to another, and then, the movie's over. So
it felt like an hour and a half movie, but I remember at one point when I was watching, I'm like, dang, it feels like I've been in here for a bit. Like, it feels like this movie. So it didn't feel like an hour and a half. It did feel at times shorter because they got to the action straight out of the gate, but it also felt like, okay, this movie's been going on for a bit. Like, how's this going to end type of thing. So,
yeah.
So do you want to kind of walk through, I know we kind of touched on it, but do you kind of want to walk through kind of segment of the movie, like what happens, get into kind of a deeper discussion about it. So if you guys haven't seen this yet, we're going to get into,
trust me, it won't take you very long to watch it.
No, absolutely not.
So essentially in this, I'll say, what does it start as? Like,
basically,
can you kind of explain like the first like 10 minutes? Because I kind of got thrown off.
So you're basically in a scene where a guy's in a car and he's on the phone with someone, and he's basically telling like, hey, basically I think a deal went down, right? With this guy who's in the car, this SUV, he's got a driver and he's got his boss, his kind of security guard with him. He made a deal with who we know as Salazar, made a deal with him. He's having a conversation with someone, and basically Salazar was like, yeah, I'm not giving you the money. He told his driver his driver was his right-hand man, his muscle, and he ends up killing the guy.
Right. And that guy's played by, is that the Christopher guy? Christopher?
I think so.
Hive Jew,
he played Tormund in Game of Thrones, if you guys know, the big redhead.
And the Scott's Miracle Grow commercials.
Yes. That's him.
Feature long.
So basically, you see how that happens, and then you kind of cut, and it's Aisa Gonzalez's character going to Rosamund Pike, Bobby Sheen, her company, saying, "Hey, your client basically got $4 million stolen by Salazar. I can go get that money for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know I'm the best. I'm going to do this. I want 10, 20% of whatever you guys get back." She thought she couldn't get it all back, and she goes, "No, I'm getting all your money back. And you know I'm going to do it, and you know I have the team to do it." So,
and Rosamund Pike's character, because she's not like the head of this company.
No.
Where she's like, I might need, upstairs to kind of approve of this situation. And she's like, no, it'll be fine. And this is like all in her office, her high rise in Manhattan.
Yep.
Yeah. So she essentially takes the deal, and then this is where she kind of organizes her crew.
So she's also a lawyer, right? I mean, that's the main crux. She knows law.
Yes.
Because she started.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is she wants to make a deal with the Salazar guy. Like, hey, I want the $4 million. He's not going to pay. So she basically just starts doing research on all of his people that he works with. Right? She meets with his lawyer. She basically is going to tell him like, hey, we want this, we want this, we want the money back. And his lawyer's like, you're crazy. Get out of my office. Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Bronco, bugs the office so they know exactly what's going on, where he's going to be, what he's up to. Henry Cavill as Sid goes to this one of their guys who they hired as part of Salazar's team, who's like his computer tech guy.
Salazar's team, yeah.
Salazar's team, and Henry Cavill's playing backgammon and lets this guy win.
Basically tries to get in with him to like be able to bug his office as well.
So basically, she basically as a lawyer is being smart. She's basically knowing all of his illegal dealings, all of his shell companies, his corporations that Salazar has, and she just bleeds him dry. She takes freeze.
So essentially, just kind of backing up a little bit, the Salazar guy borrowed money from Rosamund Pike's firm, Goldstein or whatever it is.
Yes,
and he owes Goldstein a bunch of money.
Yes,
and he's obviously like doing illegal things. Like he like owns and operates this like literally this island off of Spain. He's trying to, he's obviously doing illegal things. They're trying to get the money back from him. Rachel, who is played by Gonzalez, was like, I'll do the dirty work for you. I'll get the money, and you owe me 20% or whatever.
Yes.
So she's assembling her team, like you said, like Bronco, who's played by Gyllenhaal, Sid, who's played by Henry Cavill, and a couple other people to basically not infiltrate. Well, I guess Cavill and Gyllenhaal are kind of infiltrating Salazar's lawyer, who's played by Fisher Stevens from Succession.
He was fantastic.
He was really good. He looked clueless. I mean, he was literally his character from Succession.
That's exactly what I felt like. I was watching him on the screen, and I'm like, this is literally his character in Succession.
I mean, as a lawyer for a, probably a drug lord or some kind of, kingpin, where you basically have nothing you can do will please him, and then eventually you'll probably meet your demise.
Yep.
He played it pretty well.
Yes. All the times that he was just wiping his brow with his little handkerchief, dude, that killed me. It just it kept getting progressively as the movie went on. Every time she would take something from Salazar, and shit just kept hitting the fan for him. Like he just kept wiping that forehead.
Right. So, like you mentioned, she is able to freeze all of his assets, like his private plane, his yacht, and several other things. So he gets to a point where he's like wants to meet with her in person on this island.
Yep.
And that's where she pulls together her team to kind of come out with a plan, which I really liked about the movie, where she's like talking to her team, like, this is what we're going to do. And they kind of show while she's talking about it, like what they're actually doing on this island. Like, so how are they going to escape, all that
stuff. Yeah, that was cool. So they know she's going to have a meeting at his private, hotel in his penthouse suite. And they have like different extraction points for like, hey, the main goal of this mission is obviously she wants to get the money, but our main goal is get her out.
Right.
So how are we going to get her out? We have extraction point in the north, on the east, and on the west, and they kind of go through exactly how each extraction point would work. Right. So they go to extraction point 1. They're like, hey, we have to do this, 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 and this. And they have certain time limits. They have to, hey, you need to get these things in the air in 4 minutes. You need to get these, you need to get from point A to point B in 3 minutes. And they start going through each different type of extraction point. Like, all right, hey, south's not going to work. All right, we have to try the west now.
Right.
Oh, hey, now we have to try the east now. And then you go and see exactly how they're going to have to do it, which I thought, like you said, I thought that part was brilliant. As she's explaining what they're going to have to do, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill are explaining what their characters, what they are, they're showing you.
Right. And they have like side characters. One guy who's like a pilot who has these like gyrocopters ready on the like end of the island where they could drive up their ATVs, hop in with her and get out. And they like were they kept going over it as they were like doing time trials. Like you have to get to this point in 3 minutes or this, mission's going to fail. And so like one of the guys was getting there in like 4 minutes. They're like, all right, we got to cut this back. We got to, keep trying. So I thought the film did a really good job of kind of cutting back and forth between her talking through the plan and then them kind of, enacting it in a way. So Salazar gets her to come to the island. She brings the team. Salazar is basically his security team knows that they're there. So they're kind of scoping out each other. They meet for the first time, try to strike up a deal.
Yeah, they try to strike up a deal and it basically went nowhere. She's like, I want the full amount. He's like, I'll give you this. She goes, yeah, you're clueless. If you don't give me the deal, like I'm going to start taking things away from you. He's like, whatever. And then they leave. I think they leave, right? And she's like, she wanted a beer. So they go into this little cafe and I think she had one of her guys back home helping with some scoping of out things, but their entire team, right? They have one guy who's good with muscle, one guy who's good on the pilot. They had one guy who was using the drone, which I thought was really cool how they showed that, right? As they're sitting in the cafe and they know they're going to get swarmed. Right. They know they're going to get Salazar's people to try to come either kidnap her, to kill her. And I liked how they described it. He's like, all right, you have two people, you have two unfriendlies coming in at the front of the cafe. Do you see him? And Jake Gyllenhaal sitting there with her and he goes, yep, I see him. And the guy goes, all right, you have two more coming outside. And at one point there was like 14 people.
Yeah.
14 bad guys. And Henry Cavill's basically speaking to, Sid's basically speaking to Bronco in his earpiece. He goes, all right, I'm going to take these two guys. You're going to take the two in the front. You get the two on the side. And the way they executed that plan of making sure she doesn't get kidnapped or killed was fantastic. Like that was just great action. It's like what you want in an action movie, especially with the cast. I mean, I thought that scene was one of my favorites of the entire film.
Right. And they end up escaping and getting off the island. And then it's like a few months later, essentially Rachel, is it Rachel? Yeah, it's Rachel.
Yeah.
Played by Gonzalez, is kind of like on her own in the Middle East. And somehow Salazar's group founder, because not only she did not get paid from Goldstein.
Salazar gave the money back, but then he didn't get any of his assets back. He didn't get his private jet, private ship. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to kidnap you until they give me what they want. And she's like, okay, well, joke's on you because they haven't even paid me yet.
Right. And she has this watch that she's wearing. That's kind of the plot device of if I click the side of the watch, Sid, played by Cavill, will like know where she is and can find her wherever she is in the world. So she's getting kidnapped, she hits it, and then this is where like they actually enact the plan that they talked about getting her off the island.
Yes, that's the part that I thought was really cool was how they did that. So like the first part of the movie, they're kind of showing you all these extraction points, and you think, if need be, hey, this is going to happen. After this meeting, it doesn't happen, and then boom, it actually ends up happening in a different circumstance than they probably thought it was going to happen.
Right, and obviously, typical movie, the plan doesn't go as
it's planned.
As planned. But they eventually get on the island. They get her out, off the island. So people die. A lot of people die.
I think only one of their team actually ends up dying.
I think two, right? The helicopter guy died, right?
I don't remember that.
And then their like right-hand man when he set off all the
explosives in the safe house.
In their safe house, yeah. So
I don't remember the helicopter guy dying.
He had like a beard. I think he died in that because they remember the Salazar's team had the drone.
Yes.
With the explosive device, so he ends up flying it over top and then exploding everything.
And so that basically what happens. They have to go to different extraction points, and they're in the safe house, and they're just getting bombarded by all of Salazar's team. So one of the guys sticks back around to make sure they all die, and he blows up the safe house. And as they're getting towards the end of the island with the what are they called? Gyrocopters.
Yeah.
Salazar's team had a drone, and they absolutely just blow that thing to smithereens.
They end up having to resort to little like dinghy boats.
Yeah, they got back. Well, they got the dinghy boat, then they got back to something like that. Yeah, the dinghy boats.
Yeah. So essentially, the film ends with them taking out Salazar, right? Like they took out his. Oh well, no.
Well, yeah.
They took out his main guy, the ginger guy.
That scene, because you saw that in the trailer clip.
Yes.
Right, you saw it in the trailer where he's sitting there and he's telling him when to go, and he goes, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "Nope, hold it." And as soon as the helicopter comes into the little window that he has, he loads up that rocket launcher, and that scene was crazy because like you see the point of view from the ginger guy, the Scots guy. That's what I call him.
The Scots guy.
And you see the freaking missile just coming right at him.
Yeah.
just right at him.
So they take him out, and so Sid and Bronco don't get on the boat. They're like, we have, one last thing to accomplish. So they end up going back to where Salazar is, and he's basically by himself at this point, right? Like all
Yep.
of his men are dead.
Yep.
And they essentially ship him, like put him in a shipping container and send him to the US.
They send him to Miami.
Yeah. To basically like get him, arrested. And then he arrives and they,
The funny part of the movie is Salazar, he goes by a bunch of different names.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's how they can't find him. He changes names all the time.
Right.
So when they finally get to the shipping container, they open it and all the police are there and they arrest him. Like, it's Mr. Salazar. And he goes, I don't know who that is. My name's Alex Smith.
Right.
And it's like, he's like, dude, you're not getting out of this.
Right. And you think at this point, I mean, it's to assume he's probably going to rat out, Rosamund Pike and her, firm for basically lending a criminal like him a bunch of money.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Correct.
that's how it ends. And it's kind of funny. But I think like that was probably what the last
30-ish minutes.
Yeah, 30 to 40 minutes of the movie, which I think were like had the makings of a great movie. It's just the first hour probably should have been pushed to like an hour and a half.
I would agree. Yep.
To kind of explain everything. And look, like we mentioned, like it's nice that they kind of got into the action, but I think they could have explained some of the backstory a little more to make it
like I said, that was one of my gripes.
Movie.
That was one of my gripes. I thought the movie could have been 30 minutes longer, and I think 30 minutes in the beginning half of it. I thought the last, like we just said, I thought the last 30, 45 minutes was almost perfect.
Uh-huh.
It had everything you wanted in a film. But I think if you added 30 minutes on, tacked it onto the beginning part, and kind of let it breathe a little bit, kind of give some more background, I think this movie would have been one of the Guy Ritchie's better movies. But it's still a good action movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to get into final verdict, some scores here for the folks at home?
Yep, let's do it. So this is probably, what's this, a fourth movie reviewed?
Fourth, yep.
And this is probably the lowest score I've given it. But again, still a fun movie. I gave it a 77 out of 100.
Yeah, I think I initially had a couple scores, and then I went back and kind of looked over some things, and after talking, I dropped it down. I have it at an 81.
Okay.
81.
So, our two primary categories, story and script, I gave it a 20 out of 25. What about you?
I had it at an 18.
Okay.
I really think the first part of the film, not letting the story breathe, kind of hurt. This obviously dropped it down, 7 points. I think that kind of hurt it for me a little bit.
Great. Yeah. And then characters and acting, I gave it an 18.
I gave it a 20.
Okay.
I just thought Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill kind of elevated everyone else kind of around him. And I was like, I can't drop it down super low because those guys I thought were made for this type of film. So
yeah, and I think the acting part of it was fine. I just think the characters, like the development of or lack of, kind of put it down for me.
Yeah.
Because again, like you kind of just jump in and you don't really give too much backstory to anybody. Like literally anybody. Like, I think Salazar may have had the most character development just because of, they kind of gave more of a backstory of like why he is who he is and some of that. So secondary categories, direction, execution, I gave it an 8.
I also had an 8 for that one.
Okay. Entertainment value, I gave it a 9.
10.
Yeah.
I really did. I really thought the last 30 minutes of that film it's what you want in an action movie. So I think the entertainment value in that alone, I tried to, I thought about maybe like a 9 or an 8, but with how the movie ended, I was like, dang, that was perfect.
Yeah. Yep. Originality and creativity, I just gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave mine an 8.
And again, like it's, it's not the most.
You're not reinventing the wheel.
Right. Exactly. Emotional impact, I gave it a 6. Could be even lower. Like, not a ton of, at least for me, an impact on this movie. Like, I didn't really feel for a lot of the characters and didn't, obviously I wanted the good guys to win, but didn't feel, something.
Yeah, I gave it a 7. I probably could have had it at like a 6 or a 5. I was like, man, we made it through this entire movie without any one of his main group or her main group dying. And that obviously, the last scene, obviously, with the guy sacrificing himself, I think that's kind of what kept it at a 7 for me. I thought you were going to get through the entire movie without any of their team dying, but that part was like, it was kind of like he knew, hey, no one's going to survive if I don't do this, if I don't stick around and kind of fight these guys off to make it seem like I'm the only one left. So that kept it at a 7 for me. Probably could have been a 6 or a 5.
And then personal bias enjoyment,
I had it a 10.
Yeah, I did.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Great time. Like the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I think it's the 4th time I've said this, but it's what you want in a movie.
Yeah. And what lacks in character development and the clunkiness of it, makes up for it in the fact that it's an hour and a half. and that it's gonna go by really fast too. It's not a long hour and a half, which there are some movies that are a long hour and a half. This was really fast.
Yeah, I agree. So, Elliot, your final score was a 77, which is the lowest of the 4. Mine was at an 81, which I think is right on par with my Crime 101. So when you see these movies, and you'll see our letterboxed accounts, if we have a movie that ties, same score, 81 or 82, what have you, it's going to be basically like, all right, which movie did I enjoy more? I'm not going to take the personal bias and enjoyment category and be like, all right, which movie had a higher ranking?
Right.
I'm just going to go based off of, all right, they're both the same scores. Which one did I enjoy more watching?
And you'll have to find out, right? Like till the end of the year for you?
Yeah. So
like which one made it?
Obviously, you'll be on my letterbox. You guys will be able to see it. But I still plan on doing my, right around the Oscar season, I'll do my final 2026 movie ranking. So if you guys tune into that, I know a lot of you actually enjoy when I post those with, fun pictures, music, things like that. And you guys everyone's like, oh, what's your number one movie of the year going to be? And then I get a lot of comments if certain people have movies where they think it's way too low. I think my first year I did this, I had Everything Everywhere All at Once at 8. And I know a lot of people that was everyone's favorite movie that year, but I'm like, yeah, this isn't beating the Batman. So sorry.
Yeah. And we'll make sure to post it on the Instagram too, both accounts, your account and our account.
Yep. Absolutely. So watch now, Elliot, watch later, or watch never.
Yep. So the final verdict. I say watch later.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, it's only in theaters right now. So if we want you to watch it now, then we're going to make you go out there and watch it. But this is one of those things, just wait until it starts, streaming. It's something you have to see right now, but when it comes on streaming, I think you should make it a priority.
Yeah, and if Ellie and I tell you to go watch it now, we will find you and we will make you go to the theater. And with our 4 movies, with our AMC A list, we will go with you if you so choose.
Speaking of that, we'll get into it in the next segment. But
okay, yeah, I think for me, if you like Guy Ritchie movies, if you really do enjoy them, I would say go watch it now. If you're really into Guy Ritchie movies, but if not, watch later. Like Elliot said, stream it. Wait till it comes on streaming. It's probably going to be on streaming in a month or 2.
Yeah.
And maybe not that long, maybe a couple months. But come July, August, this thing will be popping on Netflix or Prime, or I don't even know how that works anymore. What streaming services gets the rights to
I think it all depends on what studio produces it. Yeah. And they've signed certain contracts where they can push it out to certain services. But yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah. So if you're keeping the scores at home, I think we said Project Hail Mary would be a watch now. Crime 101 in this movie would be a watch later. And then I think we officially decided that 28 years later, The Bone Temple would be a watch now.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, all right. So that wraps up our review of In the Gray. So the final segment, it's kind of what's been on our minds, what we've been watching, what's going on. So Elliot, I know you're on a little trip right now. So what have you been up to this last week?
So like I mentioned last segment, I went and saw In the Gray this week. Unfortunately, there's no AMC theater close to where we're staying in Nashville.
I didn't know this.
No, the closest one was probably 25, 30 minutes away. But there was a movie theater near us in Opry Mills. So Opry, the Grand Ole Opry, all that good stuff in Nashville. Opry Mills is like a giant area, like a giant mall.
Yep.
And they do have a movie theater in the mall. So
Cinemark, Marcus Cinema.
No, it is Regal.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I did not get to use my A-list this week.
Bummer. But I did. Having to pay for a movie couldn't be me.
I did as a, I don't know, tribute to AMC. I booked it on AMC as well for our local movie theater. Just to say I did it.
That's incredible.
But you can't get points or anything for it because I'd never, scanned in at the movie theater.
So you just did it out of honor.
Yes, I did out of honor.
There we go.
But I did have to pay. And I will say Regal Cinemas, I don't think there aren't any in Columbus. Surrounding areas in Ohio, there are a few, but no Regal in our area.
Okay.
But it is a very nice theater.
Okay. What did you like
very
about it?
Clean, very clean.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is just specific.
AMC around us have been kind of falling off a little bit.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is just the specific, theater itself, but I was very impressed in how clean it was. And the other thing, they don't have the Coca-Cola Freestyle. So you order a drink, they have it behind the counter and you have to order it.
Back we're in 2000.
It's a good and bad, right? It's nice because I don't know. There's people who aren't going up and just taking advantage of the system and messing around with it, where this is just much cleaner, much more aligned.
You'll actually get the flavor, because I've had so many times where I've wanted to go get a vanilla Coke Zero, and it just completely watered down. I've had to go to like 3 of the 5 different machines to finally find one that actually tastes somewhat decent.
Yep.
You know?
So I will say I do like Regal, although we don't have any in our area. So still an A-list, still an AMC guy.
I would hope so.
Yeah. They do have also, but Regal does have 4DX, which is something AMC does not have.
No.
So essentially it's like, like that Shrek ride at Universal Studios where you're in the seat, it like moves around, it shoots water in your face. This is what that is at Regal.
What movie was in 4DX when you were there?
I want to say it was Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that would have been wild.
Mortal Kombat 2?
Yeah.
Have no idea what that experience was like or would be like, but I'm pretty sure it was Mortal Kombat 2. And again, I think this weekend is probably, Mandalorian and Grogu. So that would be pretty cool, but that is something AMC doesn't have, but we'll get back to it. And then the other thing, The Boys series finale was this week. Watched it.
How'd it go?
Enjoyed it. It was a fitting, I think it was a fitting ending. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was something that we expected to happen. Very similar to the comics.
I gotta get on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mentioned before, like the first 2 seasons were really, really good. And then the last couple seasons have been down. And then this season was kind of up and down.
Have you noticed that with shows recently? Like it's really hard.
Yeah, it's not just their problem. It's a industry-wide problem.
Do you think it's just people losing interest in shows where shows just kind of start to tail off because they kind of, I don't say run out of content, but it just feels like it's so hard to please viewers now?
Well, and I think these shows that maybe not are expected to do super well do super well. And so, especially like streaming shows, there's no box office or anything.
Yeah.
But all these streaming sites have like, oh, we had X amount of million viewers for this. And now you can just get so popular that they continue to produce seasons.
Sure.
And the writing kind of just gets watered down. And you just reiterate same plot points in different ways.
Sure. But you like the series finale. It kind of capped things off in a pretty good way.
Yes. It was weird because leading up to the finale, it didn't feel like watching last episode did not feel like the finale was going to be the finale.
Okay.
Like it didn't feel like it was ready for it, but I think it was like an hour long.
And this was season 5?
5, yeah.
5, okay.
Which is 5 is a good amount. That's a good amount of seasons. You're not running too long.
Yeah, Breaking Bad was what, 5 seasons?
It was
5 or
pretty
6,
short.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, like I think the final episode was good. I liked the ending, but maybe they went a season too long. I don't know. But I do want to rewatch it. Because the first season came out pre-COVID, and I think I did watch it till 2020. So, kind of seeing how it ended versus how it started, I do want to see.
Sure. Okay.
Yep. What about you?
Let's see. So after because I saw this on Saturday, I went over to the AMC, our local AMC, and watched this movie. And then Sunday night, I was kind of in a Guy Ritchie mood. I was like, let me check something else out. I haven't seen some of his movies, so I was like, oh, I've never seen The Gentleman. One movie we touched on earlier. It's got a star-studded cast: Hugh Grant, Matthew McConaughey, the whole 9 yards. So I put that on, and I'm like, okay, this movie's great. And then about, we'll say halfway through, I'm like, yeah, I've seen this before. I completely forgot I'd seen it, and this was probably a handful of years ago, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. That movie's fantastic.
It is really
good. I haven't given it a score yet. I'll probably, because like right now, guys, most of our reviews are 2026 movies, and we'll do scores and I'll post it to Letterboxd. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build my Letterboxd up from like old movies, whether it's Dark Knight, All the President's Men, Inception, Godfather, things like that. So I'm trying to go back and watch just great movies or movies that I've seen in the past that I really like and try to give it a score and then kind of upload it. Because right now I have a few lists. Obviously, I have my 2024 top movies list, 2025, and then obviously our 2026. But I'm trying to get like my top movies of all time. So that's basically a combination of all 3 of those lists, and then movies that I've been going back and watching. And I thought that movie I was only going to watch like 20 minutes of it, and I was going to, take the dog out and go to bed. And then I was just on the couch, and it was like 45 minutes later. I'm like, I got like 40 minutes left. Like, I'm just going to finish it.
Yeah.
So I watched that. Still getting through Andor season 2, just slow playing it. Like I said, I've seen the first 10 episodes, and then I stopped because I didn't want to finish the show. I was like, I need to go back and rewatch this. So rewatching that. I love listening to Spit and Chicklets, and being that it's golf season now, they have their sandbaggers, basically, where the 2 main hosts, Paul Bissonnette and Ryan Whitney, play against whoever they can find, whether it's former NHL players, whether it's current celebrities.
A lot of like YouTube golfers too, right? Like,
yeah, they haven't really done a lot of YouTube golfers recently. Okay. They have, so obviously, like I think one of the first ever sandbaggers they did was Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon, right?
Oh,
And
that's pretty cool.
the production value on it was because it was just starting; it was super low. But they've done like David Pastrnak and Kevin Fiala. That was hilarious one because Pastrnak and Fiala got absolutely blitzed on the golf course. Hilarious. So this one, I've been meaning to watch this. This has been out for about a year, and I'm sad that I haven't done this yet. But they did basically a 2-match thing where they played Bob Does Sports. So they
The
played
popular
Bob.
YouTube
They
channel,
did
yep.
they did Bob, Joey Coldcuts, and Fat Perez. They did it on their channel. So I knew that one came out first. So I watched that one first, and then they did one on Spit and Chicklich's channel.
Same outing, they just from different perspectives, right?
No. So they
Oh,
played
no.
like a one night, and they did it on Bob's channel, and then the next day
Okay.
they did it on Spit and Chicklets. I'm telling you, it is it is honestly the best collab, and I think Bob mentions it like 3 or 4 times. He goes, "This is the best collab we've ever done." They just shit talk each other, and you think they're like being dead serious, but they're just, they're getting competitive. They're on the golf course. The whole star of that entire sandbagger was Joey Coldcuts.
Uh-huh.
That man he is so serious, but it's so funny watching him just like crash out.
Oh,
Because
he
like
crashes hard.
at one point in time, they're down. He's like trying to motivate him. He's trying to yell at Bob. He's like, "Bob, come on. We need a dart. You got to get a dart in there. You got to put it on the green. We got to get these guys. We can't let them beat us." And then I think at one point on like the second to last hole or the last hole, someone took his rangefinder and he couldn't find it. And he goes, "Where's my range?" He's like 80, 90 yards out from the green. He's like, and then they're like, "Why do you need a rangefinder? Just put it on the green." And he absolutely just duffs his shot maybe like 10
Of course.
yards.
Yeah.
And he's like, "If I had my rangefinder this way," he's like, "Where's my rangefinder?" And they're all just making fun, like, "Dude, you shanked a shot. Like, you didn't need your rangefinder to do that." You need to put it on. I would watch them in both. I watched the Bob Does Sports one first, and then I'd watch a Spin Chicklets one.
Mhm.
Hilarious. Like, it's pure, like, just straight up perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and then I'm currently watching their next one, which it was Biz Witt and then Keith Yandel, former NHLer, joined their pod officially. So those three, they basically what they do is now with the three of them, they play in a scramble. So they're the one right now I'm watching is they're playing against former Boston Bruins players. So it's Tuukka Rask, Torrey Krug, and David Krejci. So watching that one, it's pretty, dude. It's just great. You should get kind of like if you're, it's perfect to put them on like right now and into the summer when when you have the golf itch,
Mhm.
and you just kind of watch it and just watch the insanely nice courses they're playing. But yeah, definitely check it out if you like Bob Does Sports, if you like Spittin' Chicklets, and you like golf. Put on the sandbaggers with that collab. You're gonna die. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. You're gonna die laughing the entire time.
Yeah.
It's
I
fantastic.
think I've seen parts of the Bob Does Sports one with them. But yeah, I should probably watch more of those. They
You're
are
gonna
pretty
die
funny.
laughing. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. So that's pretty much what I've been watching. Other than that, not much else.
Ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's go. So that's it for this week's episode of Brothers and Blockbusters. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please give us a follow, leave a review. I know we already have one review right now from one of our friends. Leave a review wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify, wherever. It does genuinely help us more than you think. More reviews for us equals more exposure to our lovely voices.
Mm-hmm.
Share the podcast with your friends, family, enemies, or anyone you know. If you want to reach out to us about anything, you want to talk movies, you want to talk shows, you can send us an email at brothersandblockbusters@gmail.com, or you can visit our Instagram page at Blockbuster Brothers. Next week, we are reviewing the newest film in the Star Wars universe, The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Can't wait.
So I will post when I go see it, I'll post to my Instagram for you guys who are listening to the podcast. I'll put out hey, what movie am I seeing? So you guys, if you guys listen, you guys will know, and you guys might get, you'll get the correct answer. But yeah, we're reviewing Mandalorian Grogu next week. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.